Welcome to erpbugs. In our previous session, we talked about the business unit. We verified the business unit that was loaded through rapid implementation file. We have added an address or location of the business. We discussed why the location is important for a business. Then we specified that business unit for the user because all the definitions that will be done by the implementation consultant will go to that business unit or default to that business unit. The forms where you want to do the setup, the changes that you are going to do will specified to that particular business unit. So whenever there is a change or whenever there is something new to be added, one should verify that what is the scope being selected at the business organization business unit level. So let us continue and start with the business provider service provider relationship, business unit, business functions, and a reference data set. So the first thing that we will do, will start with, is business unit, business function. So in our previous session, we discussed what are the functions that are available. Now, depending on the business, the entity's business, we will decide what business functions are applicable. For example, suppose say the PNC, the Power and Corporation, is having a business and that business is not generating any revenue or there is no expenditures. So we have to select or deselect or uncheck that function. Basically, I mean, why we have to uncheck? Basically, we do not want to use that module. Suppose say somebody doesn't want to manage the human resource capital of that particular business unit in Fusion. So at business unit level, we can deselect that. So now let us get into the business unit, business function, to understand that what are the business functions available, and we can change them by default when we do the implementation through rapid implementation. The application defaults all the functions for that particular business unit, and we have to verify whether that particular function is applicable to the business unit or not, and we can remove them or add them if we are doing it in a standard methodology, doing through the standard methodology of implementation. So let us select, either if you select here, then it will go to the business unit definition. If you select here, it will go to the task. So this is what the rapid implementation have already selected. So what are these functions? It is important to understand what functions are applicable for the business. So in a real time, the implementation consultant will sit with the finance team or the organization management team, entities management team, and understand whether these functions are available or whether they are using it or not, and whether they want to use those functions in Fusion or they are doing it through other system or manually. So based on that decision, you will have to select enable these functions. So what is payable invoicing? That means this function means the entity is using the complete function of payables. Similarly, billing, revenue, customer payment, whether you are going to deal, I mean, this organization will have customers and the customers will make the payment to the entity or not. So there is a list of functions. One can suppose say we do not want leasing, we can uncheck it. We do not want, say, expense management. So, before removing or adding anything, you have to take a decision. What what decision, whether this is a permanent decision, or whether the organization never ever go for this function, or they will plan in future. All those decisions are taken in real time. So when you are doing the implementation for the first time, or migrating the customer from a different ERP system to Fusion, you have to discuss with them, and you can keep this enabled. If it is not required at any point in time in future, then you can disable it. So cancel this. So I am not going to disable anything, because we will take that decision. And if during the or after the implementation is done, and there are some transaction being already done through this function, disabling is not advisable. So these are the functions available. Everything, receiving is nothing but from your supply chain management, project accounting, customer care, material management, collection management, service request management. This is for field service. This is customer payment is nothing but your account receivable, sales, procurement contract. If you enable procurement contract, your business, the purchase or purchase agreements and all the functions will be available. Payable payments, if you do not enable this, the payment functions will not be applicable for this business unit. So this is a management decision, they will take it. And what is this below legal entity? As I mentioned, that if it is a one business unit, one legal entity, you can select it. If you, this is a one time activity, if you once you select, you cannot disable it. So always, don't select this. Why? Because if you want to add a business in unit later point in time under this particular legal entity, it will not allow you. Okay, so if we are doing manually, then we have to come here and select one by one. If not, if we are doing through the rapid implementation, then this information will default. This relationship will get automatically. See here, we have nowhere we have selected this, but it has come from the rapid implementation. So how it has related? It has taken the balancing segment value that we have assigned at the company organization structure, and picked up the ledger that is associated with this particular balancing unit, balancing segment. So save it, save and close. What is next? The next is set assignment. What is set assignment? Set assignment is nothing but we are grouping all the information under one set, and in all the all the business object, we can associate that set. That means we are customizing the various options. We will see when we start doing the transaction or looking at the configuration of subledgers, like payables, receivables, how important is this set assignment. So when rapid implementation is done through the template, by default Oracle assigns this common reference data set, which is nothing but a definition by Oracle. It is assigned to the business unit, but it can be overridden. So to override, we should have one reference data set of our own. Next we will see how to define a reference data set. We will define the reference dataset, and we'll come back here and select those business objects or reference data objects. So these are the objects we will see when we do the respective module configuration, how these objects are useful and what is the impact of having own reference dataset or common reference dataset. We will discuss during the different topics, discussion of different topics. So let me cancel this and define a reference dataset for this business unit or the legal entity level also I can control. So here I can select, this is the local search. I'm searching here, manage reference reference dataset. Okay, so in entire Fusion we have three activities basically. One is manage, one is specify, one is create. Apart from that there is no other activity. Manage, create and specify. So let me click on this. It's a free text form, you can enter anything. So manage reference dataset. This plus icon is to create a new record. If you want to search, you can search over here. So let me add this reference dataset. It's a free text field. So power RDS, set name is power underscore reference, or I'll say power reference underscore dataset, or better I'll use 01 underscore power tech RDS. Description is nothing but to identify it. So we can say a reference dataset for power tech legal entity. We can define, I mean, even for the business unit or legal entity will be better. So let us define this power RDS, save it, save and close. Now what we have to do is to go back to our business unit, business functions, or assign business unit set assignment, manage business unit set assignment, and change it for a couple of things like say customer account. So for the time being we'll set it as enterprise. Customer account will say enterprise. Why we are doing this we will discuss during our receivables. Enterprise related. Then for payables, suppose say for your understanding I'm just changing one or two to check whether my reference data set is available or not. So let me change it to you can click on the search, you can put power search. So this is the RDS we have defined. Select this, add it. So in every module we'll come back and we will change this from common to our own as and when we get into that topic. So save it, save and close. Now we are done with the reference data set. The next activity is the relationship. What is relationship? What is service provider relationship? Service provider relationship is nothing but applicable for the business where the services by the business unit, suppose say in our example we have let me show you that chart, I mean the organization structure again. So if you see here, we can I know there we can have one, suppose say the organization is not that big, but they want to control the finance for all the business units at one place. That means centralization and decentralization of function. Suppose whatever we have, we have to pay to the supplier, it will be paid by the head office, or it will be paid by a business unit located centrally. It is authorized to pay for all on behalf of all the business unit, and authorized to receive on behalf of all the business unit. In that case, we call it as a shared service center. So whatever business you do, the payment received or there are certain other services will be provided by a single business unit. So their job is to only do that particular business, or along with other business functions, they are collecting money or paying money on behalf of other business unit as well. So that relationship is nothing but called service provider relationship. We will see whether this particular business unit will manage all those services for itself, or the services will be managed by some other business unit, or it will manage the services for other business unit in this business unit. So these are the three relationships, service provider relationship we can define. Let us navigate to the service provider relationship and see what services are covered under service provider relationship. So navigate to service provider relationship, click on this already, because this is already done, because we have uploaded the rapid implementation template, and by default Oracle have set all the services. If you click on this, you can see these are the service. The first one is customer payment service provider, means this business unit will provide the service, I mean will have the service of making payment to the customer. The second one is payable payment service provider, means it has its own service of making payment to the suppliers. Then the third is procurement service. Procurement service is nothing but this business unit will have its own procurement system where they will create the purchase order, they will receive the material, everything related to procurement will be done by this business unit. If the business doesn't want to do the procurement, but the procurement will be handled by the head office, in that case we have to disable it, and then for all the business unit for that particular legal entity will fall under one new business unit which will only do the procurement business. Either new or some other business unit will take care of the procurement function of the rest of the business units. So this is the concept of this is basically business requirement related to centralized procurement, centralized payment processing, centralized customer service or customer receipt processing. We do have this function. So I'm not going to change this. We can discuss the complex requirement based on the business requirement. Save it, save and close. Now we have completed our business unit configuration, basic configuration. The next we will see the additional configuration that we need to start the business or start configuring the application for different other functions. I mean the either functions or sub functions within the function, like within payables we have invoicing, we have prepayments. There are a lot of sub functions. So to do enable those functions, sub functions, and their characteristics, how this how the activity will be performed, who will perform the activity, what are the different options, we have certain additional configurations that we have to do. So in next session we will see what are the additional functions, and particularly the next session will be for converting the employee to a legal employee. What is the difference between employee and legal employee, we will discuss, and we will see how it has to be done in the system. Okay, so the next session is legislative data group. What is legislative data group we will see, and what is the conversion of employee to legal employee.